Hey everyone, welcome back to the regular version of Rival Talk, at least I hope so. As far as I see, everything is working properly right now as it stands. So welcome back in person here. So as always, I'm your host and I'm joined by Marcus. Marcus, how you doing this week?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's good to see you again. Wow, look at that.
Right, yeah, I know. I'm sure you can see me right now, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, last week things didn't go as planned. When I stopped recording and went to go download the footage to my phone to do all that stuff, I noticed that it wasn't working and was just completely frozen, so it turned into an audio-only version last week. So I'm sure that's probably preferred, though. I'm sure people probably would just prefer the audio-only version.
I don't know about that. Don't sell yourself short over there.
Well,
married you, so.
that's true. Like I said, things are going smoother right now. Hopefully things are going smooth. I got a new webcam thing to use, so this will be the setup now for now, as long as this works and continues to work, and we'll just ride this out as long as it goes. That's what she said. So.
You did it.
I knew you were going to come in with it there. Preseason week 2 is come and gone. We're pretty much we're in preseason week 3. It's probably going to be a relatively quick episode compared to what we usually do. There isn't going to be too much to talk about. Our resident Niners fan here didn't even watch their preseason game.
Okay. It was blacked out in our area. I had it recording, and I went to watch the recording, and boom, nothing. So, yeah, it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, blacked out in Nebraska. That's not something you hear too often.
I don't really understand why it happened. I was watching the Mariners game, and I was really excited to watch that, and then watch the 49ers game right afterwards, and nope, wasn't happening.
Yeah, back when the Mariners were exciting to watch, right?
Last week, yes.
Anyways, I digress. And then the Seahawks, obviously, they just, crap the bed, so not much to talk about there. So this will be a relatively quicker episode, and this is really going to be the last preseason episode, because next week we're going to be talking more about our predictions and all that fun stuff. So really, I think generally starting next week we'll start getting to more of the fun stuff, and then after that the season starts. So we're pretty much just about done with all this boring preseason stuff. So
I got to work all these kinks out by next week, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but hopefully all my kinks will work out too. Hopefully this camera is the one that I'm rolling with, and I won't have to cut it before cut down day. So
all right.
Yeah, so before we get into it, a couple bits of news that come out recently. So first off, Baker Mayfield has been named the Panthers' starting quarterback. So I actually am a little bit shocked about that, because it seems like he pretty much picked up that offense pretty quickly. I'd assume so if they're naming him the starter, but I honestly expected Darnold to start at least the first couple weeks, and then they transition to Baker. But hey, they're naming Baker right away, so we'll see how that goes. I do think he can be successful there in that system. All I have to do really is either get it to DJ Moore or just check it down to Christian McCaffrey if he's healthy. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be special; just has to do enough to get by. So, I think.
And how did they play the Browns week 1 and you play the Denver Broncos week 1? How does that happen?
Yeah, and then do we want to talk about how Mr. Massage gets suspended in a very convenient amount of games that has it where he faces the Texans when he comes back? That's very convenient.
Games.
Yeah. 11 games, totally convenient and random how that happened. But, yeah. Something else, too, that I've actually been reading about, and it's actually really been intriguing to me. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it sounds like there's been quite a fall of Antonio Gibson in the Commanders camp over there.
I haven't. What happened?
Well, it sounds like he's been playing special teams on punt returns and stuff, and not I don't think returning, but actually just coverage stuff. It sounds like he's really been demoted down there.
Wow.
So I don't know the full story of what's going on, but it sounds like Antonio Gibson just isn't. I guess I don't think he's in a doghouse, but it doesn't sound like he's really too involved in the plans for the team. So that's kind of interesting to me what I've been reading about that whole situation. So, which would really be something. I know he's dealt with injuries, but this guy was tabbed as potentially the next Christian McCaffrey with his pass catching.
Christian McCaffrey, yeah. Uh-huh.
So, but I guess we'll see what happens there, and that definitely has some fantasy impact too. So.
Yeah, I guess I better knock him down my draft board a little bit.
Knock J.D. McKissick up it. So.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, probably the oddest story from the NFL preseason here is Tom Brady went in a completely unknown absence. There were many theories out there. One of them that I liked the best, which was that he was on the Masked Singer. So that would be interesting if that was the case. But honestly, my theory is I don't know if I've talked to you about this. My theory is he legitimately was going to be retired this year, but because Adam Schefter is the one that got it out first before he could really make an announcement himself, I feel like that really slighted him in a way because he wants to be the one to control that, and so he came back. So I feel like these last couple weeks he was gone. He was he was with his family, because I feel like he doesn't actually want to be playing this year, but he's going to ride it out one more year, and then he's going to make sure he's the one who announces his retirement. I truly do. I know there's a theory that's going around. I truly do believe that is why he decided to come back, was because Adam Schefter was the one who broke the news originally and not him. So if that's the case, then I think Adam Schefter deserves to be fired and thrown into the volcano. So.
Well, okay, so if you do believe that, which honestly, all the 99% of the reports were saying he's going to retire at that time. What do you think that does for how does he play this year then?
That's going to be interesting to see. He's got plenty of weapons, and I think he'll be...
You can't possibly mentally check out, right? It's not... You can't do that. That's not his style.
Yeah, I don't think he would, but that's just something we're going to have to wait and see, I guess.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, that's our bit of news this week, so we'll just hop into it. This is the recap section, but so what do you have for recapping the Niners game that was blacked out in Nebraska?
Yeah, so I did watch YouTube clips because even if I do that anyway, regardless of if I watch the game or not. So I would just go with my players that didn't impress. Or are we going to do that later? I guess is that the thing now?
You can do it whenever. You can do it whenever.
Okay.
Thorn and Rose.
I'll just do it now. I'm going to go with my two thorns to start off. Sermon, our third-round running back pick last year. He was terrible all last year. He's been terrible all preseason. And in my opinion, he shouldn't make the team this year.
Wow.
And I'll discuss in the Rose section why I think that. My second thorn, give our starting right tackle, Mike McGlinchey, who didn't play, and he's hurt. He's always hurt. But I truly don't think that it's going to be much of a downgrade, the guy who is going to replace him. And I will also talk about that in my roses. So I got 3 roses here. The first one is a dual rose for 2 defensive linemen. Drake Jackson, our third-round defensive end pick, who's looking like easily our second-best pass rusher besides Nick Bosa. And Javon Kinlaw, who was our first-round pick 2 years ago, has had knee injuries. He's finally seems to be healthy, and he got in for a sack of, man, you know what, I don't even remember if it was Kirk Cousins or not. This was a highlight. Whatever, the Vikings quarterback. And he's been saying all preseason how he's healthy and feels good, and he's having fun again, and he looks like a monster out there. If you ever get a chance...
So same stuff that everyone says at this time of the year.
Yes, correct. I will say that. That is correct. That's why I take it with a grain of salt all the time. But if you ever get a chance to Google Javon Kinlaw, I would be surprised if he is not on steroids, but I guess he's probably not. But he's huge. He's an absolute monster, and I really hope he's not on steroids because I don't want that I don't want to deal with that. But the guy is an animal. So let me give those 2 dual roses to the defensive lineman. My second will be to Mike McGlinchey's right tackle replacement, Colton McKivitz, who I truly do not believe is a downgrade over McGlinchey. I've been not high on McGlinchey basically since we drafted him 4 years ago. So it is what it is. If he's hurt, he's hurt. McGlinchey or McKivitz, geez, they both start with MC. That's weird. He will start game 1 against the Bears, and he'll do just fine. And my other rose will go to Jordan Mason, an undrafted rookie free agent running back who has looked like a beast all offseason. He's fast. He's a bulldozer. He hits the hole quick. That's what she said. And he's infinitely better than Trey Sermon. He reminds me basically of last year when Elijah Mitchell came out of nowhere, our 7th-round draft pick, to take the running back spot over Trey Sermon. And now it's happening to Trey Sermon again, except this time he might not only be the third string running back. He might be fifth string and off the roster. So
Wow.
That's basically all I got.
I remember. I feel like this Trey Sermon situation has turned into a Jalen Hurd situation with you. The praise and all that you were giving him, and how it was going to be this great thing, and then just never worked out. Is Jalen Hurd even on the Niners anymore?
He's been terrible.
Is Jalen Hurd even on the Niners anymore?
No, he is not.
Wow. I remember when he was going to be better than DK Metcalf.
Yeah, if he would have stayed healthy, I would stand by that. But I don't even think he's in the league anymore. So his knee is just completely screwed for the most part, unfortunately for Jalen Hurd. And I don't think I was ever as high on Trey Sermon as Jalen. I always loved Raheem Mostert, and then, of course, Raheem Mostert towards ACL like 2 plays into the very first game last year. So then Trey Sermon was kind of thrust into not a spotlight, but and in fact, actually, Elijah Mitchell did come in right after Mostert got hurt and pretty much didn't ever let that job up until he had some injuries to his hamstring. But Sermon just isn't the guy. He doesn't have the it factor, if you ask me. So I don't care about the third round draft pick thing. Get the best players on the team. Get rid of them. That's fine.
Exactly.
And let's go with Jordan Mason.
All right. Well, not much for me to talk about the Hawks last preseason game. First off, literally like 1 hour after we finished recording, I got the notification that Drew Lock had COVID. So, yeah, that was cool. I mean, they didn't test for it during playoffs, but all of a sudden they're testing for it again now. But that's neither here nor there. So, but anyways, that made it Gino and Jacob on Thursday night. And I mean, Gino, he had some plays that were dropped. It's funny. One of my things last week, I remember, was saying that the pass catchers needed to make plays for the quarterbacks. Well, they did not do that. Again, it's just the same. It's the same thing for me. Just the offense just looks uninspiring with Gino under it. Like it's more the like how do I say? It's more like the intangibles of the offense. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's like how's the offense look? Like how's the pass the eye test? Like, I get it's more about like how efficient is it and all that, but there is a certain degree where the offense needs to be dynamic and needs to be able to like make certain plays. I just don't see that under Gino.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
I see that more under
Lock.
Yeah, I see that more under Lock than I do with Gino. So thankfully now Drew should be getting the starting nod this week against the Cowboys. But we'll wait and see on that. Pete Carroll has apparently said that he's going to take as much time as he wants to with naming a starting quarterback. He did. I have to calm him down a little bit here. He did say that they basically have 2 number ones on the roster. So Pete, you might want to back off that a little bit. But yeah, just nothing to talk about the game last week. Seahawks just got owned in every phase of the game. The only time they did look halfway decent was when Jacob Eason came in and he was making some plays. So that's why, if we're doing Thorn and Rose, the entire Seahawks team, coaches and all, except Jacob Eason, gets a Thorn. Jacob Eason gets the Rose because except Jacob Eason and Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant made some nice plays again, especially one in the end zone breaking up a pass that would have been a touchdown. So Jacob Eason and Kobe Bryant get roses. Everybody else, the coaches included, Pete, Clint Hurd, everyone gets a Thorn, because I get it's preseason, but that was disgusting. That just looked like they were unprepared. It was awful. Yeah, so they definitely need to clean up the special teams too, because that just that's all I really have to talk about that game. So you want to just fill us in on what you're looking for?
I want to add one thing to the point. You're talking about it can be efficient, but at some point you got to be dynamic, and that's pretty much exactly why we're moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's just so much you can do with a guy that doesn't have the ability to go outside the playbook. And yes, you don't need to go outside the playbook all the time, but if you can't do it, you've got to be extremely lucky and extremely good everywhere else to even sniff a Super Bowl. And which we kind of were, we have been, but there's only so much you can do when you got those limitations, and I completely understand that.
Exactly, and that's kind of what separates like the average quarterbacks from the good and great and really great quarterbacks is the ability,
For sure.
the ability to create that dynamic within the offense to go outside of the playbook and if a play breaks down and whatnot. And that's really what separates a backup quarterback from a starting quarterback, and that's what Geno is. Geno is a backup quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback, and so it's nothing against him. It's just the way he plays, and that's just the role he's best suited for. So
yeah, I get it.
So the last preseason game coming up, I don't remember who you guys are playing.
I believe we have the Texans.
The Texans? All right.
I'm almost positive we got Houston Texans, and yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it because Shanahan said the starters will play an entire half because this is the dress rehearsal. So yeah, that's interesting. Although I guess he's kind of done this every year for the most part with that third preseason game, not the fourth, but this one is the third and last. So it's kind of always done that with the starters playing a half. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think the playbook is going to be anything to write home about, but it'll be nice to see some guys get out there that literally haven't played all preseason yet. And it's the last time for Trey Lance to get some legitimate game reps before his rookie season 2.0. I'm still calling him a rookie.
His Ben Simmons season?
What was that?
His Ben Simmons season?
Yes, there you go. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I forgot all about that. That was weird. Ben Simmons was like the most well-versed rookie in the history of the NBA at the time when he won that Rookie of the Year. I don't remember who I thought should have won it instead of him. But
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, that was it. You're right. Okay, interesting. Wow, you got a good memory. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. Technically, he won't be a rookie this year, but I'm calling him one, and it. At the very least, it should be exciting to watch him get better every week. I think that's what's going to happen. It'll be some growing pains, but I'm fully committed and ready to watch it play out.
All right. So Hawks' third preseason game. I'm going to have to do the YouTube route, too, because I won't be able to watch this one on Friday evening at Dallas. Wow. It's three things that I'll key in on, and it's really three questions. So obviously the main one being who will win QB1, who's going to be the QB1, which apparently we might not even find out till right before the Broncos game, week 1, judging from what Pete Carroll is saying. But obviously this game has to should have quite an impact on who wins that job. So that's why I would like to see Drew, because Geno now 2 to 3 weeks, Geno's gone to run with the first team offense, so Drew should be running with the first team offense and getting the start in this one. He should actually be getting, I think, even more. He should be playing probably into the second half, I feel like. So, again, like you said, though, it's playbook and preseason is limited, and then he's not going to have. I doubt he's going to have DK and Tyler out there with him. So if he does, it would be for 1 series or 2 series. But so again, it's like you can't really judge too much, but it's enough to be able to make a determination. And then the next question is who will be the 2 starting outside cornerbacks. I do believe Sidney Jones has one of those locked up at least. But I was just reading that Kobe Bryant might actually be working in as the nickel back. So that's kind of interesting to me there, which would mean I think either Justin Coleman or even Tariq Woolen then might be getting the nod outside, which would kind of be shocking to me if Tariq Woolen gets the nod outside instead of Kobe, but either way, if both of them can make the field at the same time, that would be great. And with the way Sidney played last year, if he can play again, then we're looking at 3 pretty dang good cornerbacks right there. So,
Kobe Bryant guy, I know I'm in a Mariners chat group that is not the one that you're in, a different one that you also know about. But they've been talking about how good he's been all preseason as well. So your pick might be spot on with that.
Yeah, he's the real deal. It's not going to be long before he's a shutdown corner in the league. So
great.
It is great. All right, and then the third thing is who's going to be wide receiver 3. This has been a very slippery slope this preseason because so many of the receivers have been dealing with hamstring and groin injuries. I do still believe it's going to be Marquise Goodwin, though I know he just recently returned to practice, but I do still believe because of that, he's more of a veteran, more experienced. I do believe it's going to be him. But it could be Freddie Swain also. Freddie Swain had some glimpses here and there last year. He's pretty good. He looks a little bit like Tyler Lockett, actually. There are times when I'm watching the game or when I'm at the game, I see him on the field, kind of actually confuse him with Tyler Lockett. He's a little shifty like that sometimes. But for me, yeah, it's either going to be Marquise Goodwin or Freddie Swain is going to be the third receiver. I don't know what's happened to D. Eskridge. I think he's the new CJ Procise for the Seahawks.
Or Jalen Hurd.
He's probably the next Jalen Hurd. Yeah, lots of talent, but just can't stay healthy. So, so I mean, that's the three main things that should be, being recognized and should be more clear after this third and final preseason game. Also, unfortunately, Kenneth Walker, that hernia. I mean, Pete Carroll, he sucks with injury reports sometimes. Initially saying that he should be good to go by week 1, but now he has no timetable. So.
Did he get this while lifting weights or something?
I don't know. So,
weird.
But So, we all know Rashad Penny's a ticking time bomb. So it's only a matter of time before he gets hurt. So hopefully Walker's back by the time that happens. So,
right.
And lastly, you name dropped this guy just a few minutes ago, but something I read. I don't know if there's any truth behind it, but I was reading something that if Jimmy G does get cut by the Niners. The people around the Niners apparently expect the Seahawks to sign him.
I've been expecting that all offseason. I just didn't want to speak it into existence, so I was hoping you.
You want it? You don't want us to have Jimmy G?
No, I like Jimmy G. I don't want him to go to your team, and he knows the offense, and he's better than any quarterback you have, in my opinion. So no, I don't want.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. I don't know. I'm seeing how he's performed in
Jimmy G beating the 49ers twice this year. Hell no.
That would be something.
It would be the worst thing ever.
But I don't know. I'm not totally sold on him just because of his injury history. He has been injury riddled recently, and also he's not really clutch. Like, he doesn't perform in the big time. Well, I guess that's a double edged sword. Within the games, he sometimes does come up clutch. I know I've seen some clutch drives, but I feel like I guess I should say in the big games.
At the end of games, in the big games.
Yeah,
in the playoffs specifically. Let's just say in the playoffs. He's actually been slightly clutch in the regular season at times. Playoffs at a completely different story. He's like the worst playoff quarterback in the history of the playoffs.
Jeez.
And somehow he's 4-2, but that's not because of him. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I guess he probably would grow on me. I'm sure, but I don't know. I'd be a little iffy about it at first. I feel like I'm indifferent to it. Like, if we get him, great, but I don't want to pay that contract. So it better not be a trade. It better be if he's cut.
No, it's going to be cut, and you will then pay him like $10 million instead of $25.
That's
or even less.
Fine. So, but then the question is, how long until he starts? Because how long does he need to pick up the offense? Like, who's going to start the first?
That's the thing. That's why we're holding on to him until the very bitter end. We can literally release him one day before the first game and save the entire $25 million.
Now,
that's what we're going to do.
Now there's a conspiracy theory there. Maybe you're saving him there because you know that we're going to sign him once you cut him, and you wanted to throw us off to start the season.
He's not ready for week 2.
Exactly.
That's
there it is.
What we're doing.
There it is. So. About a week from now or 2 weeks from now, Jimmy G's going to be a Seahawk. All right.
Like I said, I know his limitations, but I also like the guy. He's still one of my favorite players over the past few years, and it just would pain me to see that. That's all.
And he would have some talent around him. So.
And yeah, he would.
All right. Well, that's all we got for this. So yeah. Got any? Across the pond, across the Puget Sound, I guess I should say. Huskies finally named their starting quarterback. Bit of a shock, kind of. But I guess if you look into it, it's not really because he followed DeBoer from Fresno State. But Michael Penix Jr. is the Huskies starting quarterback. So it must have been a very long and hard decision for them. So.
Yeah, but I heard he can really thrust that ball downfield.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he has enough protection during the games.
I wasn't expecting that one. That was a good one.
Well, if you people at home, if you go home and Google his name, Michael Penix Jr., you'll understand. So.
Yeah. Didn't you have another college football story? I thought you had another one.
I don't think so.
Vomit?
Oh yeah. That's one for you to share. Apparently, Nebraska football they they put a lot of stock into how much their players vomit during practice. So you want to elaborate on that a little bit? What's going on out there?
Yeah, it's there was a story out there. Scott Frost had a quote saying that the offensive linemen vomit 10 to 15 times every practice, and because they're being worked very hard. And people have gone crazy over this quote, saying he's insensitive and yada yada yakety schmackety. But I'll tell you what, right now, the guy was just talking tongue in cheek. He's not sitting around on his iPad keeping track of the number of vomits.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure, but I'm sorry to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network that I'm sorry. He didn't like that quote, and I hate to inform him that it wasn't legit. I mean, he said it, but when you talk enough, you're going to say something somebody doesn't like, that's for sure.
Well, that might be the difference for you this year in those close games. You know, that the rate of vomit per game, that might be the difference for you this year.
Well, can't hurt because I don't know what our record is over the Scott Frost era, but it's like 10 wins against 40 losses. So
and like 35 of those losses are in the last minute or so.
Yes, we have far and away the most single-digit losses over the last 3 years. It's not even close. And I will say this, new quarterback this year, better special teams, those are going to be different. And I'll just go ahead and I'll say we're going to have 8 to 10 wins this year. It's going to be a monumental turnaround.
Wow. All right. Well, that'll be interesting because the Huskies, they're on either end. Either they're going to go have 3 or 4 wins, or they're going to have 9 or 10 wins. It's not going to be an in between. I feel like their schedule is relatively soft. They don't play USC this year, or they don't play USC or UCLA this year. They do have Michigan State, but that's here, so that'll be a fun one. But
you know what's not relatively soft? Your quarterback.
And on that note,
good solid quarterback.
And on that note, I think that's all we got for this week for Rival Talk. So yeah, hopefully when I go in to edit this and everything is working fine, and this will not be an audio-only version. It doesn't look like it's going to be. So yeah, hopefully we're in the clear there, and all the preseason kinks are worked out officially now. So yeah.
If America has to go yet another week without seeing your mug, then we're going to lose more subscribers. So
I know.
We got to get out there.
Hey, we went from like 35 views on preseason week 1 down to like 8 views for last week. So yeah,
I'm telling you. It's you.
We're pulling the Mariners right now. We're starting to collapse. So.
Oh God.
Anyways, yeah. So yeah, we'll be back at it next week with more fun stuff. Talking about our predictions next week. So that'll be fun.
That's my favorite episode of the year.
Yep. So we can see how wrong we are.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for watching the video. Please like and share, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, and Warriors Den, let's ride.